Disco. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. Um, if you don't know about Panic at the Disco, their lead singer, his name is Brendan Urie. Brendan Boyd Urie. I'm sorry, I'm a little crazy like that. Just a little bit. Um, but yeah, every year I am in their top 0.01% of listeners she's different. She's older now. That's still what she raised me on. And so even though I listen to my own flavor and my own genres of it now, I do kind of still listen to the same stuff I grew up on. A lot of the stuff on the Nerve was like what we would consider nowadays to be divorced dad rock. I have tried to describe to someone before what the term divorced dad rock means, and I just really can't describe it. If you don't know it, I feel like you should Google it. But it's essentially like men, usually white, who are in like their 35 to 45 kind of range, who make songs about being lonely and sad and heartbroken. And yeah, a good example of divorced dad rock, Nickelback. Love Nickelback. Honestly, think they're underrated. Are they one of my favorite bands? No, not necessarily. But I do think that people shit on them for no reason. I do think that they're a good band. I'm sorry. Rockstar is a classic song. Even if you want to say that you don't like Nickelback as a band, how are you going to say that you don't like Rockstar? I want to be a rock star. I'm sorry, everybody knows that song. If you don't like that song, that's a you problem, skill issue. Um, they also have other good songs. Get 'em Up. Get 'em Up is about robbing a bank, and it's just a really fun song if you get into it. Gotta Get Me Some. I'm really into songs about hot women. Gotta Get Me Some. Love that song. Um, How You Remind Me. How You Remind Me, obviously. Great song. Photograph. I'm sorry. Not only is Photograph a good song, it's also an absolutely iconic meme. Look at this graph. I'm sorry, if you don't have Nickelback, we could have never had the look at this graph meme. Nickelback is a good band, period. And that's on period, in my opinion. Another example of divorced dad rock, Seether. Really like Seether. System of a Down, I guess, could be considered divorced dad rock, but I would say that System of a Down's later music is more divorced dad rock, because back in the early 2000s when they were actually young and in their prime, like that's kind of different, you know what I mean? It turned into divorced dad rock eventually. But a good, my favorite song by System of a Down, period. Closer. No, Closer is a Nine Inch Nails song. I don't know why I said that. Closer, Nine Inch Nails. Good song though. Good song though. come a long way as a alternative community in not calling people like posers, quote unquote, or fakers. A poser essentially means like somebody who's pretending to be part of the community but actually isn't. I feel like the idea of people being posers was much more prevalent in the 90s, early 2000s type of era, especially in the rock music scene. And I'm just not into calling people posers, especially because I don't really fit in myself to any of the rock music subgenres. Some of the music I listen to would be considered like scene. Like, sometimes I listen to Jeffree Star's music, that would be considered scene. Some of the music I listen to would be considered emo. I like My Chemical Romance, that would be considered emo. Um, some of the stuff I like is folk rock or folk punk. Cigarettes and Sunset would be a great example of that. I've seen them in person. I love them. Um, their lead singer actually stood on my chair. I saw them at the Liberty in Roswell, New Mexico, and I got VIP tickets to the show. But, and a VIP ticket comes with a chair. Like, they have a standing area. They also have chairs. And if you get a VIP ticket, it comes with a chair. Well, I was one of the only VIPs that wasn't sitting in their chair. I was like up out of my chair, standing next to it. So their lead singer saw that my chair was empty, and he walked up and whispered in my ear, and he said, "Don't let me fall." And I was like, "What do you mean, don't let you fall?" And then before I knew it, he was up on my chair. He was up on my chair, and I did not let that man fall. That was one of the best moments of my life. Um, when I was protecting him from falling, he did, in fact, step on my hand. And afterwards, I looked at my husband and I said, "I've never been so privileged to have a man stand on my hand before." That was just wonderful. That was just wonderful. That was just amazing. Some good songs by them. Teresa, great song. Listening to Teresa, you would absolutely think it's about a woman. But when I saw them in person, they were explaining some of the music, and they actually talked about how Teresa is about their van, their car. Their car's name is Teresa. The song's about a car. So, fun fact. Another good song by them. Pavement. Pavement. Pavement is definitely my favorite song by them. And Cigarettes at Sunset, I believe, would be the smallest band that I've named so far. But yeah, the point is, like, a lot of people say what type of alternative you are is determined by what type of music you listen to. Da 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 da. I don't really subscribe to that because I don't really subscribe to one genre of music. I even like MC Thunder by Eskimo Callboy, I believe is their new name. Oof. At some point they changed their name. I can't remember if that's their old name or their new name. Electric Callboy. Electric Callboy is their new name. Sorry, the other one was their old name. Electric Callboy, MC Thunder. That's like a full-on metal song. Like, we're talking screaming, like that song. I'm trying to think. I have a song in my head, but I'm trying to think what band it's by. It's another metal song. It's called Nephilim Fix, but I can't remember what the band is. But that's another metal song. In fact, that could even be considered orchestral metal. I have another song I listen to, Dark Chest of Wonders, that is absolutely orchestral metal. So yeah, I'll get all the way down to orchestral metal if you want to go there. much for some of y'all. That's really gonna be too much for some of y'all. Probably most of y'all. Um, let's see. Back to my favorite bands. Sorry, I think I've ranted for damn near 20 minutes now. Back to my favorite bands. Um, my first favorite band, definitely Panic at the Disco. We've talked about some other bands that I like. I'd say my second favorite band, right behind Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy. Absolutely. I would say in my head, I don't know if this is true for everyone, but in my head, Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy are like this. They're hand in hand. They're perfectly in sync. They're two peas in a pod. Like, they go together, and it's so hard to have one without the other because they're so good together, and they're very similar in genre. They're very similar in vibe. I would say some of my favorite songs by Fall Out Boy: Disloyal, Order of Water Buffaloes, Sugar We're Going Down, of course. I can't remember the name of that song, but that's the chorus of it. Shit. Whatever. Also, fun fact about me and Fall Out Boy, when my mom decorated my nursery when I was a little baby, Under the Cork Tree had just come out, and my mom had that album playing on her CD player when she was decorating my nursery, and to this day, that is my favorite Fall Out Boy album. I didn't even really know that growing up. It wasn't until a couple years ago that my mom told me that, but I love that album. I just have such a connection to it in a weird way. Like, I love it. And right now I can't think of another song from it other than Sugar We're Going Down because I'm on camera and my brain is like all locked up, frozen up. Can't even. Error 404. Message not found. She's gone. 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 Outside of rock music, I do occasionally venture into musical music as well. I really like, I like a lot of songs from the Beetlejuice musical. I like, the whole being dead thing from the Beetlejuice musical. Another one of my favorite musicals to listen to is The Heathers. Dead Girl Walking. Love that song, Dead Girl Walking. Um, Dead Girl Walking reminds me of Not My Type, which is a song by Motionless in White. Are they both songs about sex? Yes, they are. Are they extremely different vibes? Yes, they are. But I do also like Motionless in White. That's another good band, Motionless in White. And you know, the thing about rock music too is like, you don't necessarily have to like the lead singer of the band for them to be a good band. Like, I would definitely say runner up to Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy. One of my favorite bands is Falling in Reverse. I love Falling in Reverse. I love their music. Fashionably Late, so good. Bad Girls Club, so good. Ronnie Radke, however, their lead singer, Ronnie Radke, period, one of the worst people on the internet. Period, one of the worst people on the internet. He's so horrible. He's so horrible. He's so mean. Like, but to be fair though, and I've said this to other people before when I'm talking about them, if you listen to the lyrics of their music, it's quite obvious that Ronnie Radke is not a good person. It is quite obvious just by the way that he talks about women in his songs. does not view women or relationships in a healthy way, and he is kind of crazy, for lack of a better term. But it be like that. I don't really have anything else to say other than it be like that. Their music is still good. You can be an asshole and still make good music. Like, that's just kind of how it is. And that happens a lot in the rock music space, I think. Even though Brendan Urie is my absolute favorite artist, and I'm in his top 0.01% of listeners every month and every year, I still wouldn't say that, like, I agree with him as a person. He just makes good music. He's a good artist. Sometimes you have to have that separation between artist and person. Like, and I think that's how it is with a lot of celebrities too. Not just like musicians. That's kind of just how it is a lot of times with celebrity culture. If you're gonna have a favorite celebrity, sometimes you have to ignore their misdeeds, unfortunately. Another one of my favorite bands, Nirvana. Um, okay, I know it's basic as fuck, but obviously my fucking favorite song by them is Smells Like Teen Spirit. And I know if you're a real Nirvana fan, all the real Nirvana fans are gonna say, but Kurt Cobain hated Smells Like Teen Spirit. He didn't like it because it was overplayed. Again, it be like that. Like, it's a good song, even if the guy who wrote it eventually didn't like it, it was still a good song. Um, Endless Nameless is another good song by Nirvana. I would say Endless Nameless was one of their ventures into a more metal-like sound. It's not exactly metal, but it's more metal-like than typical Nirvana music. Come As You Are is another great song by Nirvana. Um, I'm trying to think of what I have been listening to a lot recently, because I kind of do this thing where I get hooked on a song, one song, and I play that song into the ground. Like, I play it on repeat every day for weeks until finally I'm like, okay, this song has sufficiently scratched the itch in my brain that it needs to scratch. I can let it rest now, and then I can move on and find another song. And I will listen to other music in the meantime. Like, I will just let my playlist play when I'm like driving and stuff. But a lot of times when I'm like, okay, I want to listen to music, I'll have to play that one song that I'm hooked on right now 2 or maybe even 3 times before I can move on to listening to any other songs. Like, I have to hear it over and over and over again. And honestly, Disloyal Order of Water Buffaloes by Fall Out Boy has been that song for me for maybe the last month or so. Um, but I've also, let's see, other songs that I've done that with, other songs that I've been hooked on that I do still like, because for me, doing this does not kill a song. I can still listen to the song after that and I still like it. So songs that I've done that with that I still like, some of my top songs, Follow You Down by the Gin Blossoms, great song. Um, Drive by Incubus, great song. Trucker Hat by Bowling for Soup, love Bowling for Soup in general. I'm trying to think of what the bottom of my Spotify playlist looks like the things I've added the most recently, because that's usually what I'm kind of listening to right now, is the things towards the bottom of my Spotify playlist. Um, All in the Family. All in the Family is a crazy song. this list, do not listen to All in the Family by Korn because it will mess you up. Okay? Korn is by Limp Bizkit and Korn. Or All in the Family is by Limp Bizkit and Korn. It's like a collaboration. One of my favorite songs. Oh my god. There's this one line that I have been jamming to since I was a kid in my car seat. Like every time it comes on, I have to scream it at the top of my lungs. The line is throwing rhymes at me like, oh shit, alright, Vanilla Ice. I love it. I love it. Pumped Up Kicks, but specifically the Pop Goes Punk version. I don't really like the original version. I'm sorry, but Pumped Up Kicks, the Pop Goes Punk version is really good. I'm trying to come up with another one. I'm trying to come up with one last one so that I can have 5. I think for my last one, I'm probably gonna have to go with Sublime. Sublime is a really good band. Not only is Sublime a really good band, but it's also a mixture of rock with Spanish music. And I'm from New Mexico, so rock and Spanish music, I love the two together. Sublime is a great blend. They're very popular where I'm from. What I Got, very good song by them. Pawn Shop, very good song by them. Wrong Way, very good song by them. Yeah, so that's a lot of my favorite songs and a lot of my favorite bands. And obviously, I didn't really do many other triggers in this video, so I hope that you guys really enjoyed just me rambling. Let me know if you like the format of just me